Preface to Part 2. In this part, each word has been transliterated as much to accustom the student to the position of the stress as not to put the Netherlands Bible Society to unnecessary expense. The transliteration I have used renders a word by itself according to the pronunciation, without expressing the charge, without expressing the change which is brought about in the closer by a following word. For example, I have transliterated as the by and ho, made or placed by you, and not wholly according to the pronunciation the by ko. In compound words such as daon sihol, I have followed the actual pronunciation daon sihol. The student may pass over everything that is in small print. He need only read these parts where reference is made to them. With regard to the manner in which I have endeavored to give a representation of this still unstudied language, I readily confess that it does not satisfy me at all. In the interest of students of the languages of Indonesian archipelago, I deem it inadvisable to postpone the completion of my task long enough for me to be in a position to furnish something really good, and I have therefore hurried a little in respect of some chapters. The student must be content with what I have provided, and much bear in mind that I have been alone in the task that could only be completed properly by many students, and that I have at the same time been obliged to give a great part of my time to work such as the translation of biblical texts, which does weigh heavily on the mind because one has the conviction that is if one is not an amateurish missionary, that one will be producing almost shoddy work. I need hardly say that I have derived no benefit from the work of my predecessors who have dealt with the sister languages because, under the influence of an abstract method which misjudges the true nature of language as a metaphor, they gave a representation which would only have put me on the wrong track. I need only draw attention to such observations as the logical object in the language of mortals, the infinitive, and the manner in which in Malay, for example, the meaning of an infinitive has been applied to a stem word or to the simplest form of an verb functioning transitively, so that, for example, tanam would mean the planting of trees, etc. I firmly held to use to the I have firmly held to the usage of language itself, and have never ventured to give or to give to a stem word on which even the form is uncertain. See 51.5 ops, a meaning which, as a current word, it does not have. Therefore, I have translated tanom, for example, with beri, it, him, etc., or depending on the form with let it, him, etc., be buried by you. I do not believe that anyone will ever be able to represent a language well if he does not disabuse himself of striving for a complete system, for every language is more or less a green in which the plan of the architect cannot be discovered until one has learned to supply from other works by the same hand what is missing in order to grasp the original design. Every attentive student of a language will grant me this, and then he will also have to condemn the way in this country people have endeavored to find a strict system in such language reigns as Japanese and Malay. Is it not laughable to derive from a form such as, for example, the Java Malayu or logical object, a verb Malayu, and still in the Malay Paluntar to see a derivation of Maluntar? Is it not to distort the facts to propose in Mal a verb Manglipar because one thinks because one thinks one has understanding Pangli Park. What would be said if of someone who produced from applicable, destructible, despicable, and similar words, verbs such as to speak, to distract, and to distract, to speak? Why have people refused to adhere firmly to the facts and confine themselves to their bare mention in order to deprive someone else of the opportunity of giving a better explanation of them? No language has suffered so much from the craving for system as Malay, simply because there is so little system in it. It is generally held to be said, but even so none of its numerous students has yet succeeded in making it clear. People have performed tests on it with as much conscience as a doctor on a sick man whose ailment he does not know. The poor patient had, has had to swallow a good deal even after the drugs from Taco's dispensary have had such effects. It seems that there is a curse on our study of the languages of the Indonesian archipelago, and well, and we shall never manage to master one of them in such a way that we can apply it with a reasonable chance of success. A language has to be studied for its own sake. It should not be made subservient to an end of which the pursuit acts to the detriment of its study. So everyone must be prepared for disappointments such as those the Dutch East Indies government has already met with in the popular reading books and the Bible Society in the translation of the Bible into Malay and Japanese. I am convinced that no one in this country will be able to furnish anything worthwhile because people here are too materialistic and oblige the man who still has to therefore his super also to spend his time in conning the florins, for which alone the hearts of our subcontract heroes are capable of beating. Only when people in Germany are willing to occupy themselves with the languages of which the knowledge is of such importance for us will a better future draw for the study. I do not therefore count on having readers who will be willing to profit from what can be learned from Toba. The most recent Malay grammar gives me every reason for this. Perplexed by the obscurity of a certain Japanese grammar, its author has represented for the formulation of the passive so incorrectly that in many respects this was a step backwards. He touches only in passing on the placement of a personal pronoun, usually in an abbreviated form, in front of the form that a verb functioning transitively must have in the passive, with once being able to conclude from his words. Page 75. There's such a connection in this is the expression of a passive. So one also finds in his book nothing said of the meaning of kupakuat, kobari, and so on, so that it is no wonder that he rendered perbuatkan aku, or may he make for or as may he make for me. To explain the prefix pa, he undertakes a journey for the Far East and finds on the little island on a word meaning world place. Page 56. I hope that in a second edition, which is possible for him as a large shareholder, he will see that he has made a futile journey and would have done better had he had the politeness to condescend to visit the next door neighbors and index a luxury for industrious. I shall perhaps provide later on, for first I am going to lie fallow for a while. Amsterdam, 1st May 1867, Agent van der Took.